Hello and welcome along to round 4 of Lotus Cup Europe. Now as a Rouge looms over my shoulder, you can tell that we're here at Spa-Francorchamps for one of the more challenging rounds of the season. Spa features some of the fastest and most iconic corners in the world, including Eau Rouge. Now, it's a big must for any driver, so let's go and find out how our drivers are feeling ahead of this weekend of racing.
Actually, Spa is a very enjoyable racetrack and very nice with this sunny weather, because usually it's quite wet, but today it was a great day and we have a great fun with other racers. So it's a perfect day for me.
This is the highlight of the season for us. It's pretty much the best circuit in the world.
It's an amazing place, it always has been. It's got to be one of the best circuits we drive at. Everyone thinks Eau Rouge is the ultimate corner, but there are some really good tricky corners out there. Pouon, double apex left-hander, downhill, and 2 Blanchiments. Try and get the second Blanchiment flat is a hell of a challenge.
The track is like a slope, a ski slope, you know. Sometimes you go very, very fast, very important breaks, and very, very fast everywhere, even with Lotus, especially with Lotus. Okay.
As the cars line up for race 1 of Lotus Cup Europe here at Spa, they're set to take on one of the most challenging circuits of our season. Now, Jeremy Lorenko is determined to keep his championship lead and lines up in pole position, closely followed by Gregory Rass and Nikolai Ibsen. Now, Gregory, of course, is not the only Rass enjoying success this season. John Rass is leading that production class, so it's time for me to move out of the way and hand you over to the action.
Let's have a look then at how they line up, with Jeremy Lorenko in pole position alongside him, Gregory Rass. Then it's Nikolai Ibsen and John Walker on the second row from Xavier Georges and Philippe Luc. Nicolas Frere and Thierry Verheest are next along. Andrew Wright well up in 11th, just clear of Christophe Lesandre. Then John Packer has progressed well through the races throughout the course of the season. Nick Walker, plenty to do, but we have seen him on the podium in the past. John Rass will arguably be the class act in the production class, and he qualifies an excellent 24th, as still the field keep coming, showing the popularity of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Charlotte Burridge lines up in 32nd, just clear of Jan Santa and Sven Pedersen. And it's going to be Frank Laroche and Anthony Fournier who round out the absolutely gigantic 48-car field. Rolling start for this first race of the weekend as the heat haze shimmers off the pack, stretching back as far as the eye can see as we get ready for the off here at Spa. A very firm favourite of the drivers and also spectators alike, as the red lights about to flash out. Then we'll be going racing. It'll be the dark car of Lorenko who gets the jump, or the light one of Rass, as away we go. They sprint towards the hairpin at the source, fanning out behind, looking to make ground. The sky blue car of Xavier Georges as they turn into Thassorsen. Ibsen made a mistake and he clatters into Rass. Oh dear me, also spinning around is Philippe Luc, but that was all Nikolai Ibsen. Just a little bit too late on the brakes, and Gregory Rass will be absolutely furious with that. As a result, it means that Jeremy Lorenko has got a comfortable lead over Xavier Georges, and the rest of the field stream through. Christophe Lesandre already up into 4th place. This is what can happen when you have an accident at the front of the field. The rest of the pack is slightly stretched behind as they climb up through Eau Rouge and then out of Radion and onto the Kemmel Straight for the first time. Already at the end of the Kemmel Straight as Lorenko, as John Walker looks to the inside of Lesandre and is able to squeeze past. Also looking to make good progress in these early stages is Steve Williams in the Evora. And it is Williams who has carved his way past Jean-Baptiste Loup. We're in car with Benoit Roger. Just ahead of him is David Harvey, as the production field stretching back down the length of the Kemmel Straight. 1 or 2 cars slightly out of position after challenging qualifying sessions, but the beauty of Lotus Cup Europe is that wherever you are in the field, there's always somebody to dice with, as downhill in towards Pouon for Lorenko, and this is exactly how they've wanted the race to unfold. He's looking to make a challenge. There is John Walker trying to squeeze the inside Nicolas Frere. He can't quite do it. Lorenko already heading towards Fagnes. Now the real question is going to be, can he win that mental race with himself He's got the track position, he now just needs to drive to a good rhythm. Behind him we have got Xavier Georges, then John Walker still tucked in just behind Frere. It's Christophe Legendre. Luke is trying to find a little bit of space. That's Andrew Wright, grading to a 2:11. We've seen him previously in the Elise, but this is the tail end of the incident. It's Nikolai Ibsen and Gregory Ras tangle, and unfortunately they take Philippe Luc with them for company. Meanwhile, the challenge for third place, Walker right out to the very edge of the road as he looks to begin to try and overhaul Frere. He can't quite do it. Also running out very wide, Jean-Pierre Genu-Prache, and that potentially slides him into the clutches of the 340R of David Harvey. And then we've got Benoit Rogier and Nathalie Genu-Prache as well as part of that group. And Nathalie Genu-Prache indeed able to squeeze past Benoit Rogier, but then she runs out very, very wide. She manages to maintain the place as the field accelerate on towards the La Source hairpin once more before that long run downhill as David Harvey looks to the outside of Jean-Pierre Genu-Prache. Genu-Prache though sticks to the racing line as Rogier looks to challenge Nathalie Genu-Prache. Meanwhile, the red and white exige of Frere doing a good job here of keeping Jonathan Walker behind him. Right rides just a little bit more of the curve than he wanted to. Climbs out of Eau Rouge. Now Walker's got the run, possibly on Frere, heading along the Kemmel Straight on the brakes into Les Corps. Through he goes. Textbook move from Walker. Now how far can he continue to progress up the order? That's going to be the question as Harvey and Genu-Prache run side by side. We go in car with Jean Ras right at the front of the production battle. He is currently wheel to wheel with David McAnulty. Rasper, we saw Emmanuel Cour gets a little bit frustrated when he's racing with those alongside him, and he's frustrated again. McAnulty has clearly got a lot of straight line speed underneath him and is able to power back ahead of Ras. Out front though, Lourenco breaking well clear of Xavier Georges. Then we have got John Walker, who's broken away from Frere, trying to close that gap down. Next along, it's the red and black 2:11 of Christophe Legendre. Then we've got the black of aura of Steve Williams in behind, seesawing at the wheel Xavier Georges as he needs to, because John Walker is beginning to attempt to reel him. You can see just how hard Walker's trying through Fagnes. Needs to be careful not to ride up over the curbs unnecessarily. Steve Williams just comes under a bit of pressure from Jean-Baptiste Loup in his 2:11. Williams, who has always been towards the very sharp end of Lotus racing, whatever ilk, making life difficult. Meanwhile, John Ras and David McAnulty continue to battle, and Ras, at least for now, gets his nose in front. Another lap then about to be reeled off by the race leader, Jeremy Lourenco. And Lourenco at the moment in command of this race. His advantage, Xavier Georges, has grown a little bit over the last lap or so, and it's the 3 Exige V6 Copars at the front of the field. Then we've got Nicolas Frere in 4th, Legendre the first 2:11 in 5th. The Evora of Steve Williams, the preeminent Evora in this race, but for how long? Because here comes Thierry Verheest to the inside of Jean-Baptiste Loup. Verheest gets through, plants his right foot. There's a big wobble there for Lourenco through Eau Rouge, but all the while he's breaking away from the field. The gap amongst this leading group really beginning to open out. It's in the train further down, also taking advantage of the slow pace of Jean-Baptiste Loup was John Packer. So Packer, as we rather suspected, is beginning to elevate himself up through the order. Meanwhile, Steve Williams looking to line up, indeed finding a way past Christophe Legendre. He did that very early on the Kemmel Straight. So Williams up ahead of Legendre. What about this production battle? It's John Ras just ahead of Dave McAnulty. McAnulty a long way offline there, keeps his foot in. Oh, and he's gone off in a big way. And McAnulty slams into the tyre wall at the top of Eau Rouge. It's arguably the trademark Spa accident, but that is a big hit as the car slewed across the road and comes a very, very distant second in its meeting with the tyre wall. Meanwhile, John Walker in second place, closing in now onto the tail of Xavier Georges. Then we've got this fantastic fight for 5th, headed by Steve Williams, but Thierry Verheest looks to the inside of Lysandre as well, into Pouon, and through he goes, or does he? Lysandre tries to tough it out around the outside, gets elbowed wide. That's going to allow Jean-Baptiste Luc to slip past, and also John Packer as well, possibly. And Packer draws alongside Lysandre. Frenchman though gets his elbows out to defend. Meanwhile, it's the Belgian Thierry Verheest clear of Jean-Baptiste Luc as they flick through Fagnes. Great dicing. Can Lysandre get back onto terms with Jean-Baptiste Luc to become the top 211 in this race, or will John Packer be able to scythe past him? None of this, of course, any concern for our race leader, Jeremy Lourenco. And Lourenco, his lead has just steadily grown. Now Xavier Georges is going to have to contend himself more with what's going on behind him, because John Walker is onto terms, chasing down the Frenchman as they flick through the bus stop chicane and on to the completion of another lap. I don't think Walker's going to be quite close enough to roll the dice for a move to the inside the Source hairpin. There's also a question about whether or not we've still got yellow flags over at Eau Rouge, of course, after the incident for David McAnulty. And so there's opportunities to find a way past. Slight limit. I just wonder if the safety car board has possibly come out. We're not seeing too many challenges for position into La Source. And there, yes, there's the safety car board. You can see just the inside of the hairpin. I thought the cars had slowed a little bit. They weren't challenging, and that's why. So the safety car is out for the recovery work on David McAnulty's car. So all of that excellent opening phase of the race for Jeremy Lourenco washed away. Now this is great news for John Walker. He is going to see the gap from 1st to 3rd absolutely whittled away. So there is McAnulty's car. The good news is that he is out of the car. The bad news is that car is very, very second hand, but the tyre wall doing exactly what it was supposed to. As the field bunches up into the bus stop chicane. We're going to be going racing this time round. Yes, we will. The safety car peels off the track, so we go racing once more in this first race of the weekend in the Lotus Cup Europe at Spa-Francorchamps. And now this is the golden opportunity for both Xavier Georges and John Walker to really see what Jeremy Lourenco is made of. Likewise, Nicolas Ferrer withstanding the pressure from Steve Williams as they all look to gain ground. Andrew Wright under pressure from Nathalie Genu-Prache. Roger runs a little bit wide in the background. So Lourenco and Georges fly in formation. Walker in behind them. We are going to take a very short break. Join us in a couple of moments' time as the action continues here at Spa.